Insane.
That ranks up there with like do better.
Yeah.
Hey, do better. Like, ooh.
Tell me a joke, comedy boy. Yeah.
Do a funny. It's like,
dance for us, you monkey.
Dance, monkey. Dance, I say.
So yeah, it is just Kevin and I today, but I did want to actually bring Kevin back to interview you because of your sordid, weird past. I think that you're in a very unique position that you used to work in a jail, doing some form of security, and now you're doing security at a global amusement park company.
Yes.
So you went from prison to
Funland. Working for a company that I have to immediately start with saying my points of views and opinions and words are nothing that have anything to do with the actual points of views and opinions of said company, and they are completely my own, and I do not speak on behalf of the company.
Everything in here for legal reasons is speculation.
There you go. Everything is my own opinion. They belong to me, and in no way is there some sort of rodent off screen just being like
holding the litigation shotgun.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mark Ruffalo used to talk about like how whenever he would do interviews for Marvel, he was just like, yeah, so if I say anything, like you'll see the red bead just start going around my forehead.
A little laser dot.
Something like that. Just somebody take care of my dog.
Yeah, we'll do. I mean, we'll have it killed as well, so it should
of course. I mean,
it should join you in heaven.
Is that where we go? I thought we just returned to the
That's
water.
where the dog goes, honestly. I don't know where you're going.
All dogs go to heaven. You? Who's to say?
Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to ask you some questions about that. So first off, how did you end up getting into working at a jail?
Oh, that was easy. I applied.
I just went to jail.
Yeah, I went to jail once. And, you know what? This ain't too shabby. No, what was it? My dad worked in law enforcement for like 30-something years, and it did pretty well by him as far as like affording take care of his family and stuff. And at the time, I was working at Starbucks. Can I say Starbucks without getting sued? I worked at a
representing Starbucks.
And too late now.
I don't think anyone could argue that you worked there.
Hey, I just recently found out that if I was smart enough at the time, I would have stock by now. And buying stock in 2006 for Starbucks versus now, yeah, that would have been nice. And so I was working there, and I was working in a jewelry store, and I was barely scraping by, and it was really rough. And I was like, you know what? Let's just put in for it and see if I get it. And then I got it, and was like, oh crap, okay, I guess I work in law enforcement now.
So how much training was involved? If any. Did two guys literally high five you and go, good luck?
Yeah, hey, can you drag a... Sorry, I got to move this thing around.
Yeah, it's all right.
Just for little inside baseball, I was having just a metric ton of issues with my computer, so now I'm doing this on the phone. Yep. Let me see. No, I mean, like, there was, like, a good month or two of training, and then every year, you'd have to go through, like, a week of training just to update you on everything that you needed to know. And, like, all the, this is how we do this now, this is how we do this now, okay, yada, 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 and, hey, can you get tased? No, thankfully, didn't have to deal with it.
Well, so you and I are friends, so I know the story, but I'm asking for the sake of our listeners, all three of them, I mean, it sounded like you weren't happy there. Was that right away, or that over time?
That was an overtime. It was not.
And I imagine it's a rough job.
Oh yeah, and it's even harder for people who are like professionally nice, because it's just like, oh man, like it just started eating at me, and just like the negative environment constantly, and it was just, and then the hours kicked up, and it was just because it got to a point where it was cheaper for them to slow zoom on your face. It was cheaper for them to work us ragged than it did for them to hire on new people. So you'd be working 16-hour days. Some people were just buying RVs and like literally living in the parking lot, except for like every other week when they'd go home and see their family. And that's just like that's not a sustainable model. And it wasn't a good fit for me, and it really started to affect my outlook on a lot of things. It affected uh just I mean, I was like mentally just destroyed. It was not fun.
Let's say I'm looking for your best moment and your worst moment at that job.
Well, see, I take joy in the stupid.
As do we
So
all.
when something happens and it's just completely insane, I want to be all around it. So like there was this situation, which it already just sounds wrong. So just bear with me. There was like a hostage situation, and it was like I think it was like these people who were part of like this cult like church, but then they were too like cult like to be part of the cult like church, so then they got kicked out, and then they heard that there was like a camp going on for the people who were still in it, and they showed up in like Guy Fawkes masks and like all black get-ups, and there weren't weapons actually on site, but there was a threat of weapons, and the second somebody says shooter, everyone panics. But so these guys came in, but they were wearing all black and no
Was it the
masks.
5th of November? Because that might explain a few things.
God, if only. No, this was in August.
Well, then they're not too
But
smart. But anyway.
but they had capes. So they came
But they
in.
had capes,
They
as
came
you do in your
in
religion.
in all black with capes behind them flowing. I was like, oh, the Sith are here, the Sith are here, the Sith are here. And then one of them couldn't afford to get like the black like army boots and black jeans, so he came in like sweats and then black socks and then black flip flops on top of it. I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing. This is so stupid. I can't believe it.
So I actually don't know if you're describing your best or worst day.
Oh, that was my best. That
Okay.
was hands down. Like, I mean, there were a bunch of days that I could say they were good days, like at work, where it's just like it was slow.
But that's a pretty incredible thing to happen.
Halloweens were always fun because like then you get people in, like especially the day after where everybody was arrested, like they had to leave, but they had to leave in the clothes that they showed up in. So you'd see like a really like sad Tinkerbell like dragging her tutu with her butt hanging out, like walking out of the jail, and like I don't know, like taking joy in people's like the breaking of their lives. It's kind of dark. But
is it ironic that your current job involves people wearing capes and masks?
yeah, but like they're well done. Like if we
with
have
style,
a fairy,
with polish.
yeah, it's polished. It's like they wear really good makeup and they have to be like scene accurate and stuff like that. And just be, instead of just like, oh, here's knockoff guy. Here's Greg Fox.
Jeff Fox Day.
Greg.
Yeah. So okay, I mean that's like I said a highlight for you. What's like a low light? What's something really rough or difficult you had to deal with there?
I mean there were a couple of deaths that were really hard.
Any that can be attributed directly to you?
Not to me, no, not at this time. No,
I'm just trying to catch you on a murder. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just I mean, they haven't caught me yet. Hey,
yeah. Acquitted, baby.
As he enjoys his non-alcoholic beer.
Can't go to jail for a theoretical situation.
No, anyway. It was actually the day after Thanksgiving, and one of our lieutenants didn't show up for work, and I guess him and his wife got into an argument the night before, and so he went out and
this is a coworker.
Yeah, he was and he went out and he drank, and he's not a big drinker, and had a weapon on him.
Wow,
that was a really, I mean, I'll miss Cronin every single day. That guy was, I mean, he's like this big, buff, super, like, strong guy, but he was like the sweetest guy. And, I'll miss him. I still think about him all the time. Yeah.
Well, not to drag things to a sad halt, but
Well, you wanted to know, man.
no,
You
no,
asked a
I did. Yeah,
question.
I'm generally like, and that's why I think it's interesting. Like I said, the jump in position that you have now,
Yeah.
where you went from working security with that environment, and now working for a fun company whose name we dare not speak.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Exactly.
um, what? So yeah, first off, how did you get out of one and into the other?
COVID. COVID was the
Go
big one.
on.
During COVID, I ended up leaving the sheriff's office after like 14 or 15 years. I was up in Northern California, and I was living with Joe, who does this show also. How you doing, baby?
Our very own Joe Kroll.
Yes, the master of funny and tall. And it was just like there was really I sat there and I thought about there's really no reason for me to continue to stay up there because I had nothing else to do. And I just wanted to restart. So I came back down here and moved in with my mom and was just living on unemployment and my savings. And when COVID started becoming less and less serious, because it's not gone, it's still here.
Yeah,
Becoming
it's
less and
just a
less of a big issue. It was like, all right, well, what am I going to do? I need to get a job. And then like that same day, just an email, just come work for blah, blah, blah.
I've worked for blank.
And then I did the interview, and I think the interview lasted all of like 5 minutes before the lady's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're coming to work for us."
Oh,
And
right on. So, was your previous history like a huge like? Was it a bonus to them, or were they like
yeah,
ambivalent about it?
yeah, the fact that I had law enforcement history, because they're usually, especially for security, they're looking for people with security history.
Yeah,
But it's just like, yeah, I was in law enforcement for 14 years. Like, awesome.
yeah,
But they
yeah.
were
You're
also,
gold.
but they were also worried because people come from law enforcement and they're aggressive and angry. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. If I find something, I'm gonna fight someone.
Yeah, I
They're like,
shoot
oh, are you gonna
first and
tackle anyone? I was like,
I shoot
no.
first and shoot questions later.
Yeah, shoot questions. Um, I'm gonna fight and do things, and then after that, more things will happen.
Yeah,
Um, but no, it was just like I think my personality matches a lot more with this company.
yeah.
And I love being able to wake up and go here every day.
Uh,
It's fantastic.
which is just a huge turnaround from being really disillusioned with your job to
Yeah.
losing coworkers to being in a bad place and then getting to do the same kind of work in a much more lively, fun place, I imagine.
I like to tell our guests that it's like I went from a place that people hated so much that they paid to get out of to a place that they want to get in so much that they pay to get into.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I get to do it for free because they're suckers.
um,
Only when there are tickets available,
which
thankfully
which I
right
will
now pretty good.
which I will totally need to hit you up on. That's
I've
the
told you, man.
oh yeah,
Please let me treat you.
yeah, all good.
Absolutely.
Um, the Michelle and I would love to come out. Um,
Oh, I
let's
haven't seen
see.
that woman in forever. She's a saint.
um, so yeah, like I said, you made this change. Now that you're at the new place, I guess same question would be highlight, low light. What was one of the craziest fun things that ever happened, and what was negative? Holy crap!
That's really hard on both parts because like there's so much fun stuff that happens there. Like I think
I mean, something that stands out, like you mentioned, like with the last one, like interesting people, right? Like a cult showed up. Did you ever have
yeah.
a bunch of like Scientologists in funny hats, or like
We do have a guy who stands out front with a giant sign. The you're all gonna burn in hell if you go here. That guy, the you must come to Jesus because Jesus is the only way. And this character wants to turn all of your Johnnies into Jennies using a magic wand, and yada yada yada. And he just stands like right on the property line, so legally we can't do anything about it. But what's fun is then I just get to be on the other side of the property line, just going, "Welcome, we love you just the way that you are. Everyone, welcome at this place." Da 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 da. And he
That's good.
hates me for it. He
Oh yeah,
hates me.
There's always a guy, but I'm glad that you're the one shaming him and making him look
Well,
dumb.
that's the thing. Like, I'm not doing anything directly to him. It's just like,
Yeah,
and especially working there now, where I have like this completely different outlook on life. When people ask me about it, the only thing I can say is like everyone's got a hobby, because that's really all it is. Like, he's not getting paid to do it. He just shows up on random days to do it. So it makes you
I
wonder, like, does he tell people at work that this is what he does on his off time? It's like, hey, Brent, how was your weekend? Well, let me tell you.
Well, I was like, I have three assumptions with that. Like, one is, I don't think it's a hobby. I think it's to them, it might be a calling or like a, like a demand, like from their church or from their opinion of the church. And then the other would be that I wonder if people like that even have jobs. like, like you said, like who's like working at McDonald's and like talking to their coworker and like, oh yeah, at
Yeah, I
6 when
just
I knock off, I go and hate at the fun park.
yeah, I go stand in front of this park and scream at little kids with a megaphone.
Yeah, that doesn't sound that
Make
doesn't
them go,
sound like
Daddy,
someone
what's a
that also works
pedophile?
at Macy's.
Yeah, yeah. No, he works in like a stock room or
Oh
something.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great if you're like a finance. He's a stockbroker at Chase.
yeah. I'm
um,
gonna give you this loan, but just know that you're going to hell. Have a great day.
Don't use it for sin.
What if he works at like a condom revolution or like an adult store? And he's just like, I gotta find that balance. I gotta find the getting in with God balance.
Oh man.
Oh, I
So,
love that. Burning in hell, enjoy your vibrator.
so
Um,
I don't know if that's a low light or a highlight, but like it. I mean, it's a highlight that you get to challenge that person. I imagine.
yeah, and I
So
mean, it's kind of a bummer that like that has to happen to my guess, and that we have to deal with it. As far as the low light goes, um, oh, how do I dance around? There's no dancing around it.
yeah.
All right, so our company recently donated a lot of money to Israel,
Mm-hmm.
which means that clearly that means that we're anti-Palestine. So we had a massive protest
Oh.
in front of my park about that, and you're always going to have like the group that's like here, and they're protesting, and they're peaceful protesters, and then you have the radicals. And it got to a point where we didn't know what they were going to do. Um, like if anything happens, we're gonna zip tie all these barricades in place and lock down the park. And it's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And then realizing that like they have plans in place, but at the same time, like I don't think that they run drills on it. So like all of our management was kind of everywhere. Um, that was yeah. So that was a little scary. And I mean, like that's something that I do in training too. Is I have to train them. It's like we are a target. Everyone knows about our company, and it's either you love it or you hate it, but no matter what, we're going to have a target on our back. So we have contacts with law enforcement and government agencies keeping us on like a terrorist watch list, because you
I've
never know.
I've heard that that there's like a fairly huge security force, like a amount of people working security. Like I don't know if that's at the other location or this one in particular, but like on a given day, like how many people are working security? Like 10 or 100, 1,000?
Hundreds. Hundreds.
Hundreds.
So I work at one of the main entrance gates, to basically train and go through everyone's stuff. And there are 3 or 4 different gates, and each one of them has like, say, 30 turnstiles or something like that. So you're looking at a couple of hundred just there, and then there are like the hotel units, there are the downtown units, there are the units that are in the parks. There's bike units, there's motor units. Where I mean, we're massive. We have uh, over 1,700 security employees
Damn.
just assigned,
Uh,
and I get to train for that, so it's fun. That's
So,
another weird thing. That's
all
another.
right.
Sorry, I want to get on this because it's like it's
Yeah.
the thing. So many more opportunities for growth in this company than there was.
Imagine that.
Then there wasn't. Like, yeah, but it's just like because like people want to move up, and whereas in law enforcement, it's just like, well, I made lieutenant. Guess I just could kick my shoes up and I'm done. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool. And then I got to wait for this guy to retire. Whereas like this one's like, okay, well, we're going to need more people. So go ahead and hire it. It's like, I don't know. It's very nice to be able to have that kind of forward motion for once.
I definitely know the feeling. Like I've worked tons of jobs where like there was just no promotion ever, you know, like you never got that raise, you never got that bump.
Yeah.
And then I've worked at places where they're like, oh, every 6 months we evaluate you and you're doing great and here's some more money and let us blow you.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Which I thought was extra special, but
yes.
Yeah.
It's just like
that's what
cool,
that's why you should work in tech, by the
way.
Well, hey, I wasn't into it, but
look,
damn.
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I wasn't ready for it.
I mean, you may not have stopped to see Picasso paint, but once he starts painting, you kind of want to watch him do his thing, you know?
I was thinking more of a train wreck analogy, but okay.
I've got a broken brain. I should probably point that out at the beginning of every episode.
My name is Adam Aragon, and I've had 73 concussions.
Things don't work right up here.
Every now and again, you just get to speak, go, that bird is far away. It's like, what? What's going on?
My sense of metaphor, simile, and phrasing is that of a lunatic from a 1950s cartoon. But yeah.
The French. Okay.
Anyway.
The French.
Anyway, so yeah, like I guess you know, like I said, I was just curious about this transition. Like, obviously, I think it's a positive step for you. It's cool, and I'm really glad that you love it. And yeah, I guess like you know, what's next for you? Like, is there room to keep moving up? Are you gonna stick with it?
I want to stick with it. Trust me, I would love to work for this massive corporation for the rest of my life. The problem comes from the fact that because I worked in law enforcement, I was like, I'm just going to live and die in law enforcement. I don't need to go to college. Well, guess what? I do. And so now I'm
they needed a degree for higher positions.
Which is weird because I'm starting to realize nobody checks. So you could just lie. Oh yeah, I've got a master's degree in what's happening. No one's gonna check. No one's gonna care. As long as I know how to use like Excel, I'm sound as a pound.
Yeah. Just tell them you majored in rhetoric at the University of Phoenix.
There you go. I got my doctorate at Trump University.
Only took me 2 weeks and I got a free steak.
It came from the Sharper Image. Remember the Sharper Image?
Yeah, it's right next to the Radio Shack and the Circuit City. Yeah.
Oh yes, where service is state of the art. Every Circuit City that I ever saw, I believe now is contracted to be a 24-hour fitness.
That's like every mall that dies has to fill with shoe stores. There are just certain immutable laws.
Oh yes. What was it? Somebody had once said or said on the interwebs that what they should do with malls is turn them into like old age facilities for millennials. And it's just like, dude, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we have 14 Spencers.
There you go.
There's 18 Sabaros.
Hey,
and,
you know what? When I'm old enough and I'm like, I can't find my shoes, I just go down to Shoe Palace.
Go down to the elderly millennial.
There you go.
Support center, which formerly the Plaza.
Orange Julius.
I want a hot dog on a stick. I know, Grandpa. I know you do. We'll get it for you.
Back in my day, this was a cool place to go.
No one believes you, Grandpa.
Now I'm just gonna putz around the kitchen.
So what's keeping you busy when you're not working lately?
God, everything. Like I just I'm in school, so I'm doing that a lot, trying to play catch up.
Okay, so you're enrolled, you're doing it, huh?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Like the lady of mine has been a real driving force. She's like, you got to do this. I was like, no, I don't know, because I was like, I was like a C minus student in high school because I didn't try. But now it's like, oh, I'm paying for it, so I better do well. And turns out that when I try, I do pretty decent.
Who
I've got like
knew?
I've got like a 3.9 GPA. I'm like, what the? I'm not. I don't have smart. I don't
Yeah.
have smart. I do a dumb at fun time.
I
But
always had I had the opposite problem. Like I always felt like the smartest person in the room, and so like I would just float through like barely paying attention, not doing homework, and then ace all the tests.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, I was the same way. I said like, and what was it? I even bet my mom once. I was like, if I do all the homework in this class, watch my grades are gonna go down. And sure enough, like I did all the homework. I aced all the homework, but the second it came to a test, like I was getting C's.
Well, you can become dumb on command, so you could tilt the scale in your favor on that.
Anyone could become dumb on command. Just give me a
Exactly.
hammer.
That's my point. Is it's not a very good barometer because like you can always tilt that in your favor and be like, what's 2 + 2? Cat. See, mom. See what you did.
See, I was just thinking, it's like, oh, it's test time. Bam, bam.
Oh yeah, head trauma is also
Yep, there you go.
shortcut
I'm dumb
to
on
that.
command. He didn't write his name. He just drooled on the paper.
Oh man, we should just change the name of this podcast to Dumb on Command. And
Like, yeah, podcast records is gone. Welcome to Dumb on Command. I'm your host, Herbert Smiley, and with me is Todd Friendly.
we're confused and happy.
There you go. But you know what?
Yeah.
At least we're happy.
Ignorance is truly bliss, and there's so many times where I wished I was dumb enough to just sit back and enjoy life.
Oh yeah, yo, it's great, man. Let me tell you. Sometimes you're just like, you know what? I could care about this, or I could go on with my day. Then,
yeah, as I get older, I've become a lot more zen about just about everything. Like, hey, your house is on fire. We have insurance.
Oh yeah, the art,
yeah.
The art of letting shit go is probably something that I think everybody on the face of the planet needs to learn.
Oh yeah,
it's like, dude, just let it. Like, there's that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Are we allowed to cuss on this podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it has this genius idea of like, you have this finite amount of fucks to give. So like, if you're stuck in traffic and you're like angry and like punching the steering wheel, is it going to do anything to solve traffic? No. Well, then just fucking chill, man. You're stuck there anyways. Like,
I don't have the book version of that, but my version of that I think is just like akin to maturity, which is that basically at a certain point, like you need to stop thinking the world's happening to you, and it's just happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not you didn't get a flat tire because God hates you. You're not late to work today because you're a bad person. Like sometimes things just happen.
Yeah.
And it's like like I said, if you can't change it, if you don't have any option to fix it, then don't bother.
Like, what was it? Why attribute things to malice that could be attributed to ignorance? It's just like,
I'll tell you why.
Do this to you. They just didn't know. They didn't. Like, everyone's kind of in their own world. They're doing their own thing. Like,
yeah, I think it's really hard for people to understand that everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. Like, there's no one walking around going like, "I'm gonna fuck this up today."
Yeah, Well, everyone, like I said, everyone's the hero of their own story. And that means that everybody else is the world against me. It's like, no, the world doesn't care enough about you to be against you.
You're not.
That's
you're nowhere.
You're not a big deal. I promise you.
You're not the center of a universe, and reality.
Humanity has been around for just like a tiny amount of time on this planet, and you're like a smaller chunk of that in this ever-expanding universe of shit.
That's totally how I know I'm feeling older. Like, is when I hear young people get really fired up about stuff, and I just think that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Or the fact that like you have to have an opinion on everything.
Oh yeah.
Not only have an opinion, but let everyone know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's important that everyone know your opinion. Yeah.
What's your opinion on the Middle East crisis?
Let me tell you.
I wish it would stop. That's as far as it's going. Well, you need to do more research. Okay.
Yeah.
And there I go. And then I'm off.
Dodge. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I learned on Facebook to not engage, like I got in so many arguments with so many people, especially during the COVID slash Trump era, where a lot of stupid came out of the woodwork.
Oh my God.
And so I get fired up though. I argue with people, I get pissed, and at a certain point I realize like, okay, this is just ruining half my day every day.
Yeah, you're just
And
feeding the troll. Don't feed the
yeah,
trolls.
exactly. So I see someone like, what I consider excessively dumb, I just delete them. And if it's someone that I can't easily delete, then I just kind of shake my head and be like, well, they mean well.
What was it? You were clearly, you remember the Press Democrat, correct?
Yeah.
Well, back in the day,
I worked there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I worked in their web department.
Okay, so you remember how they used to be just like open forum in the comments. Well, whenever I saw that things were getting really politically heated or this, that, and the other, I started just posting pictures of Raptor Jesus.
And y'all need Raptor Jesus. That's what you need.
Nowhere in the Bible does it say that Jesus was not a velociraptor.
And that's all the backing I need scientifically.
There you go. Like, if look at what was it? Look at the biblical description of an angel versus what we see, and it's like, oh, that's probably for the best that we got what we see. But no, it was great because it would unite these two forces that hated each other into just collectively going, huh?
Well,
why did
I
you
try
post
to.
that? Wow.
I try to shy away from politics whenever possible, just in general.
Yeah,
especially.
it's just, I've got my opinions. Opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone has one. No one cares.
The opinions are like assholes, which is everyone has one and no one wants to see yours.
That's not true, okay? You could find me on onlyfans.com. No.
You could find me on
topnotchanus.com.
On onlyholes.com. That is.
Hey, I'm ranked 400th on FeedFinder.net, so.
I'd like to think I know a thing or two about the biz.
Look, if they love my feet, they're going to love me when I show hole.
When I show hole.
I love that term,
the phrasing. Hole. I didn't know that was a term until just now, but now it lives forever in the lexicon.
Oh, you're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, both are necessary. We're jumping back to our pseudo interview here.
Sorry,
we've got off the rails.
About show and hole, like
it's fine.
Off the rails.
Well, I was just, like I said again. I wanted to ask about, like, you mentioned you're going to school, and that's like related to work. What do you do for fun? What do you do for your hobbies?
Oh man!
And I mean, you could say active alcoholism, but
now inactive. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I decided to cut out the drinking.
Oh, really? Congrats.
Gosh, I don't. That's the other weird part about growing up is like, what do you do for fun? I don't know. I sleep when I can.
Not to cancel plans, not go places.
I'm in a relationship that's coming up on like 3 years, so I spend as much time with her that I can. I hang out with my dog. Trying to get back into drawing because I used to draw for a while too.
I didn't know about your drawing. I did know about your cooking.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I totally forgot about that. Thank you for prompting. I know you've been like, what do you remember? No,
talk about the thing I know you do.
Edit this out. I have I'm starting up a cooking thing on Instagram called Mighty Fine Cooking.
Mighty Fine Cooking, is that the username?
Mighty Fine Kitchen.
Oh, Mighty Fine Kitchen. All right, Mighty Fine Kitchen. Is that the Instagram username?
Yeah, so it's just Instagram / Mighty Fine Kitchen.
Mighty Fine Kitchen. All right,
and
cool.
It's just me, like, because like I discovered a love for cooking, but I'm not very good at it. And so, like, I just order like every plate.
I'm the same way with women.
Oh yeah, trust me. The fact that it's been almost 3 years with this woman is clearly, I worry. I just make these stupid little cooking videos because like every plate and stuff like that just sends you exactly what you need, so I don't have a bunch of everything lying around. And then just I basically try and make some form of controlled insanity that somehow comes out looking and tasting really nice. I think in my last video, like I had to cut up potatoes, and so the whole scene was just potatoes falling out of my mouth.
All right, so yeah, you put your own humor in there and then make stuff like. Would someone watching that like be able to like actually like follow along or do what you're doing, or would they also need like the recipe handy or something?
For the most part, they could follow along with what I'm doing, but like because I don't know the exact amounts, like, oh, you need 3 ounces of this and da 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 da. No, it's just like, hey, cut up this onion and throw it at oil. Try not to burn yourself.
How much of the onion do I use? All of it, unless that seems like too much.
No, it's always all of it. Garlics and onions, like you need as much of both as you can.
Yeah, just lob it in there.
I think in the last episode, I got a carrot that looked absolutely 100% like a schwanz. Yeah, that was just like, oh, okay, all right. I don't know what. Do I have to make a joke here? It's like, it was already there.
Just slide it towards your mouth. And...
Yeah, Man, this show got very, very not for the children, didn't it? No,
we started out pretty much there.
Oh no,
now we're full blown work the shaft mode, and
there you go. Yeah, this show really took a dip toward that direction when I started talking about showing holes. So
yeah, I think that's a point of pride for the podcast wreckers is that our level of quality is a lot like an EKG, where it's just dips and valleys, and like, but yeah.
Dips and valleys. He's like, hey, so tell me about your worst day when working at a jail. Also, footfinder.com/showhole. Let's talk about your theories on God and evolution. Yeah. Also, what color is your pee?
And what does it mean to you?
Right? The third one's gonna surprise you. It's like clickbait.
The third one will blow your mind.
Oh my god!
We need link bait titles for everything.
Yeah, but no, it's really fun. Like I highly suggest everybody cooks their own food. Like it's so fun, and like you get to kind of make it your own way. On the show, like I always tell, is like you season with your heart. So it's like, please, for the love of God, don't use salt and pepper. Use like smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, mustard powder is awesome. Put that in a burger. When you're seasoning your burger meat, garlic powder, black pepper, onion powder, salt, mustard powder,
blood of your enemies,
black pepper, that kind of stuff. Like actually season your food, please. I know that my name is Kevin Jones and it's as white as it gets, but God, season your food.
As a cisgendered middle-aged white male, I have strong opinions.
Nobody ever listens to people like me.
Oh yeah, that's their ongoing joke is that we have just like a gaggle of white men in their 40s who wear glasses.
Yeah, let me tell you about my struggles, okay? How did you get the job in law enforcement? Well, I kind of fell ass first into it.
Yeah, I just privileged my way in.
Right, yeah. I was like, hi, I'm white. And they're like, please, sign here.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice. Thank you, sir.
Here's my trophy. I won this for having my opinion listened to.
I had to explain something a lot.
And when I don't, it's a war on me and my religion and my lifestyle, and I don't like change. Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
Why am I interviewing Fox News all of a sudden?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, tucks. Oh wait, he's not on Fox anymore. Right.
No. Oh dude, yeah, that's great.
Did you see that Fox brought a tarot card reader on?
No.
Well, first off,
I mean, I'm not surprised. There's like no level of stupid they won't stoop to.
But here's the thing: I was surprised because it was a tarot card reader. So it's like you have this hardcore Christian fan base. Oh, let's bring on the Satan's mistress. And they ask and they're like, okay, draw a card, and this will be how Donald Trump's 2024 is going to look. She drew the Grim Reaper, and it was just like, oh, everything about this is it's all that I dreamed of and more. Because there's no way to walk that back. Any of it, you couldn't walk any of it back and go, well, it means that he should really be happy for the things that he has. It's like, no, there's no Satan.
No, that's not what that means, madam, and you know it.
It means that McDonald's is finally going to do him in, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I freaking love that. That made me so happy. Because like, you're doing what? And you're okay. All right, cool.
on the news, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
We're gonna get those libtards. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get a Satanist who's gonna say Trump is the man. Oh no. Okay. All right.
Oh, the wicked gods hate him too.
Why? There's no way we saw this coming. It had to have been a good idea. Chris said it.
Goddamn Chris.
Fucking Chris. That guy sucks. Chris Stevens with his friend Stephen Christopher.
Here at the Whitest Show.
Yeah, exactly. That's also going to be the new name for Podcast Records, the Whitest Show.
Oh, there you go. That was probably in our list when we originally tossed names around.
Yep.
That reminds me. So we have a secondary group, Movie Wreckers, movierecords.com. Which you out there, feel free to check out movierecords.com. Here's the inside scoop on that, which hopefully doesn't become too widely public, but on movierecords.com, you literally can go scroll down the page and watch in full every movie we've riffed with the riff.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's highly illegal. They're all unlisted Vimeo links that we make no profit from whatsoever.
Well, thankfully, the 10 of people who watch this will just probably keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, some people are already turning me in, I'm sure.
Hey, dude, I'll be the next one.
Half our listeners just watch to wait for us to fail and die.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, oh my god, it's like old school Howard Stern. You just chime in just to see what's going to happen next.
I saw the greatest thing. It was George Takei talking about his catchphrase, the "Oh my," and people said like, "Well, where did that come from?" And it was when he guest starred on Howard Stern, and he had no idea who he was or what the show was. He just go to this radio station and be on this show, and so he's sitting in like the waiting room kind of thing, and the show is playing on the speakers. And he's listening to it, and he turns to the person next to him, and he's like, "They should put some music on in here or something. Like, this is fucking terrible." and the person next to him's like, "That's the show you're about to go on." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well," and then they hustled him in, and they brought him in, and they said, I think the first thing Howard Stern said to him was, "Oh, you've got such a deep voice. You must have like a huge dong." Because Howard Stern.
Oh my god!
And the
Which
response,
is weird because
of course,
now
was
he's a polar opposite of that. Now he's like America's sweetheart.
Is he? I mean, I didn't even know he was relevant anymore.
No, he's on the X Factor, one of those talent show sort of things.
Oh.
Like, he's very much about like, trans people should have the exact same rights as every. It's just like, you were the one who was making fun of them 20 years ago. Yeah, well, I was wrong. Anyways, it just
that's admirable.
Yeah, see, that's my thing too. Is like I will go along with you if I expect you to change your point of view as things moved on. We've all said like things that were acceptable at the time and weren't. You could just go, yeah, well, I sucked. I didn't know any better, and now that I know better, I've changed my opinion. That should be okay. It should be okay to change your opinion.
That's why I can't tell any joke I learned before the age of 15.
Right? They all have a lot of bad terms for homosexuals in them.
I did find that so just for context, like my dad was a mechanic. He worked for like Ford for 30 years. He built his own drag racer with his brothers when they were like 16 from scratch, like literally put together a car like from parts.
That's awesome.
And so he was a mechanic. He was a man's man. He was also an uncertified carpenter, but he could literally do blueprinting and carpentry, and like built half our house.
Damn.
As well. So he was just the idyllic man's man, 1980s male alpha.
Strong and bold.
Yeah, and of course, I must have been a wild disappointment as a tech-loving theater nerd who might be gay. Um,
Son,
I,
I expect you to be able to build your own house within 30 days, or I can make funny on the internet.
well,
Ugh.
yeah, or I could do Shakespeare and wear women's clothes.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
bet you
no.
like that, don't you? Yeah, there he is.
But yeah, no, the reason I mentioned that is so when I was growing up, my dad had his friends over and people from his company over and stuff. And I didn't know, I didn't have, I was like a little kid, but they were a very rough and tumble mechanic crew, like the salt of the earth here. And so I heard the dirtiest, filthiest jokes from all these guys while they're hanging out, and my mind just soaked them in like a sponge. And so after a little while, I had this repertoire of like, 100 jokes. Far like I must have been 11 years old. So
Yeah.
this would have been risque if I were 20.
Take my wife, please.
Yeah,
Like, you're
yeah,
8.
yeah. And so I remember like he would have like some of his friends over, and I would just start hitting them with the jokes, and they would just like, oh, they couldn't believe it's coming out of this little kid,
Yeah.
and like they just eat it up. And they're like, oh my god, keep going, keep going. When does he stop?
Like, your
Uh,
dad bought you a leather, big black leather jacket and started referring to you as Dice.
Boy's a prodigy. What can I say?
Adam Dice Clay. Oh!
And that was the last time my father was proud of me. No,
It's funny and it's sad.
and it's true. Um, no, I remember my parents, very, very dichotomous. Like my mom sat me down one time in high school and told me, I just want to let you know, it's okay if you're gay. And I said, well, I'm not gay. And she said, okay, that's fine. I just want to let you know that if you were to decide that's your path in life, I would be okay with it and I would support you. And I'm like, that's great. I'm not gay. So, I was like, is she accusing me of being gay?
It's like, look, it's okay. It's like, Mom, I'm not though. But if you were, we would be.
You don't need to keep living the lie, son.
One might say we would be more proud of you if you were. So it's just like, you want me to be gay, God, because
it's psychologist so you into it. Yeah,
it's so much worse that you're doing all this stuff and you're straight. If you were gay, it's like, all right, it all makes sense.
Well, so I literally, like, I don't know if my mom told my dad that we had the conversation or whatever, but literally 2 weeks later, my dad sat me down and told me I better not fucking be gay. To which I also responded with, I'm not, for God's sake. I wish I was right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, I had one supporting and one threatening, and that's pretty much the story of my life.
Man,
that's why
your therapy
broken.
sessions must be fun.
Oh yeah, I did get into therapy for a hot minute. I went through, I'm sure you know this, but I went through a divorce, and we're to get real now. But no, I went through a divorce, and it was like one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my entire life. And I realized, like, I just don't know shit. Like, I don't know how to handle my emotions. I don't know how to have a proper relationship. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so, a bunch of people said, hey, therapy. And so not only did I go to therapy, but I went out and I got 2 therapists at the same time. And I saw both of them once a week for about 2 years. So I was going to like 2 therapists, 2 therapy sessions a week with 2 different therapists having different points of view and different styles, and basically made them fight each other.
Oh my God. Well, Sheila told me that I should do this. Sheila doesn't know anything.
They really don't like that. If you tell your therapist you're seeing another therapist, they're like, you need to pick one. Like
Oh
they don't
God,
like they
that's
don't
fun.
like that. But they mine were cool enough to roll with it, and I didn't throw that in their face or whatever.
Yeah.
They had one of them was very scientific and very clerical, like, and I really appreciated it too, because like I would tell her like, I feel this way about relationships. No, that's dysfunctional, wrong, and stupid. Like,
What you're doing is wrong, and you should hate yourself for it.
and I'm like, oh, it is. She's like, yeah, clinically, yes, like that's absolutely, yeah, you don't do that. And the other one was much more like, what do you feel in your heart? Like,
I understand that that's your truth. It's like, no,
yeah.
no. Trust me, this is wrong and stupid.
Yeah. I literally went to school for this for 8 years. That's wrong. You're wrong.
That would have to be a whole different podcast. I was just like, hi, so these are the things we talked to our therapist about and how we were completely wrong.
I do. I wish, I would watch the podcast where a highly talented, respected therapist or counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist comes on, listens to people's relationships, and just blatantly points out like toxic, stupid, wrong.
Yeah. Every time you hear something that clearly has to do with childhood trauma, take a shot. 20 minutes later.
He's dead. He's dead,
Yeah.
folks.
And Michelle Ferguson has died from alcohol poisoning after being involved with 5 minutes of this podcast called The Podcast Records. Story at 9.
But yeah, no, I actually really highly recommend therapy. It made a huge difference for me. Totally helped me through a difficult time. And like, then the next, like, I had a couple stumbling blocks, like getting back into the dating world, but I eventually remarried, and my wife tells me that you're the best communicator I've ever met, and I tell her, shut up, I don't know what you mean by that, and
threw a beer bottle at her.
And eventually she stopped. I don't know, but
I don't know. She got real quiet real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess my plan worked anyway.
Oh, domestic violence! You will always be a laughing matter.
Oh, I know, right?
God, wrong. There's a lot wrong with us. Yeah, bring on the therapy.
Now we know where to cut the episode and what to edit out.
There you go.
On that note, hey everyone. Again, we have been the Podcast Wreckers. I am Adam Aragon representing the Podcast Wreckers today on my own, just so we could talk with our good friend Kevin Jones. Kevin, thank you for coming on and telling us about your weird life.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you for having me. And again, Instagram.com/MightyFineKitchen. If you want to watch me cook very, very stupidly.
Yeah. Instagram at Mighty Fine Kitchen.
Yep.
You can also find us at podcastrecords.com or at your podcast platform of choice, or in Kevin's house in a shoebox in the back of the closet, where he also keeps Polaroids of people he went to high school with naked. So,